Breaking news into CBS Sports HQ, Caitlin Clark took to social media to announce that her season is over. Clark hasn't played since July 15th after suffering a groin injury. She was limited to just 13 games this season. The Fever are 13-15 without her this year and just a game and a half ahead of the Sparks for that final playoff spot.
The WNBA is in full-blown panic mode. Not concern, not worry, panic. Why? Because fans aren't just frustrated anymore. They're openly calling for Caitlin Clark to take her talents overseas. The same fans who once packed arenas just to see her shoot warm-ups are now saying, enough. Leave the WNBA. Go to Europe.
The WNBA ratings' worst nightmare just came true because it was just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out for the rest of the season. She's only played 13 games this season, and her most recent injury, which happened back in July, was a groin injury. The craziest part about all of this has been the reporting around her injury. The team has never given her a timetable for return, and literally up until today, the team had been reporting that she was still trying to get back on the court this season. The Fever only have 3 regular season games left in the season before playoffs. Some fans were even speculating that they've just been stringing fans along the whole time because they know that ratings and attendance would drop once they announced that she's out, which is also so ironic that they announced it the day that football season starts. Anyway, this is not only a huge blow for the Fever, but also for the entire WNBA. Caitlin was out with an injury back in June. Viewership dropped over 50% across the league. That's the kind of effect that she has on things. And it seems like from her post and how they announced it, Caitlin was the one that was trying so hard to get back on the court. She has traveled to every single away game. She's always meeting with fans, taking photos, signing autographs, doing all of the things because she knows how many people come out specifically to see her. But I'm really interested to see what viewership and attendance looks like now that it's official that she's done. The hope is gone. Sending my best to Caitlin. I have no doubts that she will be back stronger than ever, hopefully next season.
And here's the wild part. It's not just salty Twitter trolls or rival fan bases saying this. These are Fever fans, Caitlin's own supporters, the ones who bought tickets, jerseys, and streaming packages. They're the ones pushing the Europe narrative harder than anyone. The question now isn't if Caitlin Clark could go overseas, it's whether the call from Europe is already louder than the WNBA itself. And if she listens, the league may never recover.
In the morning as well, because Caitlin Clark fans, I want to say Fever fans, but at this point, so many of you, including myself, has lost faith in everybody involved in leadership and in management and coaching. We've just sort of, I got to tell you, I don't have any more real good things to say about the Fever organization as of now, because I will contend that they have known this was going to happen.
Let's start where this storm really began, the groin injury. At first, the Fever downplayed it. Day to day, making progress, light practice. They sold hope like it was merchandise. Fans saw her jogging during shoot-arounds, smiling on the bench, moving well. Everyone assumed she'd be back soon. Then suddenly, boom, out for the season. No explanation, no transparency, just a blunt announcement that pulled the rug out from under everyone. Fans aren't stupid. They knew something didn't add up, and now they feel lied to.
She will miss the remainder of the W season. Clark hasn't played since July 15th, dealing with a groin injury. SA, your reaction to Caitlin being shut down?
Let's find out what the rest of the WNBA is going.
It's not just about Caitlin being hurt. It's about being misled while the team kept cashing in on her name. And here's the kicker. Once trust is broken, it's almost impossible to repair. That betrayal became the fuel for the Caitlin to Europe fire. So why Europe? Why are fans chanting for her to get out? Because overseas, women's basketball isn't an afterthought. It's a spectacle.
Very difficult to believe that the Indiana Fever are just now realizing that, hey, she's done for the year. I think this has been done. I told you guys, I put out a video 2 weeks ago saying, man, she's done. She's done. Once they put out the article, when she was supposed to return versus the Minnesota Lynx, supposedly, and then the Scott Agneses and all them start talking about she suffered a bone bruise in Phoenix, I told y'all it was a wrap.
In Russia, Turkey, Italy, and Spain, players live like royalty. We're talking about private flights instead of cramped middle seats, contracts in the millions, not the $80K be grateful salary of the WNBA, world-class trainers and facilities where the star isn't just another player, she's the main event. Diana Taurasi made more in one season overseas than in 5 WNBA seasons combined. Breanna Stewart was treated like a rock star in Russia. Even mid-level players have earned six-figure contracts abroad. Now imagine Caitlin Clark, already a global sensation, walking into a packed Istanbul arena with 15,000 fans screaming her name. She wouldn't just be playing basketball, she'd be leading a movement. And this is where the WNBA starts sweating bullets. Caitlin isn't just a player. She's the league's economy. The ticket sales, the TV ratings, the social media clips, all of it runs through her. Networks signed TV deals because of Caitlin. Arenas sold out because of Caitlin. Sponsorships lined up because of Caitlin. Her groin injury didn't just sideline one athlete, it exposed how fragile the league is without her. Now picture the nightmare. Caitlin Clark signs with a European powerhouse. Suddenly, ESPN highlights are showing her in a Spanish jersey. Clips of her buzzer beaters go viral worldwide. And WNBA arenas? Half empty again. The WNBA knows this, and that's why the panic is real. But here's what really angers fans. Caitlin hasn't just been injured, she's been targeted. Night after night, she's taken elbows, shoves, cheap shots. Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Bria Hartley, the list goes on. And the refs? Silent. The league office? Nowhere to be found. Instead of protecting their golden ticket, the WNBA left her to fend for herself. And fans noticed. On Rouse, this isn't just about one groin injury. It's about a pattern of negligence. Fans are asking, if the league can't protect Caitlin Clark, who can they protect? That's why the Go to Europe movement feels less like betrayal and more like a rescue mission. What makes this story explosive isn't just the league's failure, it's the fans' response. Social media is flooded with posts like, "Go to Europe, Caitlin, save yourself, don't waste your prime here, she deserves better than this clown show." And these aren't trolls, these are season ticket holders, Fever fans, people who've supported mediocrity for years but have finally hit their breaking point. When your own paying customers are begging your star to leave, that's not noise, that's a full-blown revolt, and it's forcing the league to confront a terrifying possibility. They don't control Caitlin Clark's destiny anymore, the fans do. Now let's talk numbers. The WNBA salary cap means Caitlin can earn at best around $120K in base salary. Add bonuses, maybe she scrapes $200K. Overseas, $1 million, $2 million, even up to $5 million with endorsements and appearances. And here's the irony. Caitlin doesn't need the WNBA paycheck. She's already cashing in with Nike, Gatorade, Wilson, and Panini. Her brand isn't tied to the league. It's bigger than the league, so ask yourself this. If she's already making millions off the court, why risk her body for peanuts when Europe will double her income and treat her like a queen? And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the Cold War inside WNBA locker rooms. From the moment Caitlin arrived, veterans have taken subtle digs, side comments about her fame, shady quotes about earning respect, resentment that the rookie was already the face of the league. That negativity weighs on a player. Imagine showing up every day knowing half the locker room resents your spotlight. Now contrast that with Europe, where she'd be embraced, where her presence would elevate the league, where teammates would line up to play with her, not against her. For Caitlin, the choice between resentment and respect isn't hard to imagine. Let's be blunt, if Caitlin Clark leaves, it's a PR catastrophe. Headlines like "Caitlin Clark chooses Europe over WNBA" would flood every sports show in America. Sponsors would panic, networks would question their deals. Fans would ask, if the best player doesn't want to be here, why should we watch? And the ripple effects wouldn't stop at the US. Caitlin's overseas games would trend globally. Her highlights would dominate TikTok. US fans would stay up until 3 a.m. just to stream her. The WNBA would fade into the background while Caitlin's star only got brighter. That's the nightmare scenario the league can't escape. But here's the heart of the debate. Loyalty. Caitlin has always been loyal to her fans. She knows the platform she has here in America. She knows she's a role model for millions of kids. But loyalty has limits, and fans are already reminding her. Loyalty is a two-way street. If the league won't protect her, why should she protect the league? At some point, it's not about being loyal. It's about being smart. This is where things get really interesting. Leverage. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player. She's an empire. And empires don't beg for protection. They demand it. Think about LeBron James, Tom Brady, Serena Williams. They all understood leverage. Caitlin Clark is now in that category. By even hinting at Europe, she forces the WNBA's hand. Sponsors panic. Networks scramble. The league is cornered. And Caitlin, she holds all the cards. And let's not forget the wildest part of this entire saga, the fan base. The WNBA likes to think these fans belong to the league, but they don't. They belong to Caitlin. Fans don't show up for the fever. They show up for Caitlin. They don't stay up for WNBA highlights. They stay up for Caitlin highlights. Or if she goes to Europe, the fans will follow. They'll buy jerseys from overseas teams. They'll stream games from halfway across the world. They'll keep her brand alive no matter where she plays. That's the power of Caitlin Clark. And that's the danger for the WNBA. Sean. So here we are. The groin injury was the spark. The front office lies poured gasoline. The lack of protection fanned the flames. And now the fire is spreading. Fans calling for Caitlin Clark to leave the WNBA and take her talents to Europe. Would she actually do it? That's the million-dollar question. If she stays, the league survives, at least for now. If she leaves, the WNBA collapses into irrelevance, while Caitlin becomes an even bigger global icon. Either way, she holds the power, and the world is watching her next move. Here's what most people forget. Caitlin Clark's power doesn't just come from the court, it comes from the boardroom. Nike, Gatorade, Wilson, Panini. She's already one of the most marketable athletes on the planet. And the crazy part, those endorsements don't vanish if she leaves the WNBA. If anything, they grow. Think about it. A Nike campaign of Caitlin lighting up European arenas? A Gatorade ad showing her inspiring fans worldwide? That's global reach, not just domestic. Her sponsors aren't tied to the league, they're tied to her. And if she proves she doesn't even need the WNBA to keep her star power, what message does that send to every other player in the league? That maybe the real money and fame aren't in the WNBA at all. Of course, there's another layer fans can't stop talking about: rivalries. Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese has been the storyline networks drool over. But let's be real, those rivalries only thrive if Caitlin stays in the WNBA. Without her, the league loses its drama, its viral clips, its fuel for social media. Now imagine the chaos if Caitlin Clark leaves. What happens to those rivalries? They vanish overnight, and that leaves Angel Reese, Paige Buchers, Juju Watkins, all the young stars facing a harsh reality. They don't have Caitlin's gravity. Fans know it. The league knows it. Rivalries sell tickets, but if Caitlin walks, the rivalries collapse with her. This isn't just about one player or one league. It's about the future of the entire sport. If Caitlin Clark bolts for Europe, she sets a precedent that no player has ever set before. A top star choosing global opportunities over staying loyal to the WNBA. That decision could inspire a new wave of players to consider the same path. Imagine Juju Watkins in Spain, Paige Buchers in Italy, Angel Reese in Turkey. If one domino falls, others might follow. And suddenly, the WNBA isn't the dream destination, it's the fallback option. That's the future the league is terrified of. And that's why Caitlin's groin injury, something that should have just been a bump in her rookie year, has now snowballed into a crisis that could reshape women's basketball for an entire generation. So let me ask you, if you were Caitlin Clark, would you risk another season in the WNBA? Or would you take the money, the safety, and the respect in Europe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe, and keep notifications on, because this story isn't over. The Caitlin Clark saga has only just begun.